FedEx full, we commanding the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, they don't need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Commanders moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot in the mid, dissect the grind. District divider with a city in mind. Join the damn squad, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the word, so shit is shit. K-Dot.
Woo! Welcome everyone to District Divided, a DC Sports Podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. This is a Shades Monday. A Shades Monday brought to you by the man, Jayden Daniels. Man, what a performance. And we're going to recap the game. We're going to talk about the playoffs a little bit, comment mailbag as we always do. But before we begin this episode, if you could please like it, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
I'm liking my poetry, so I got another one. Please. It's a little longer, but I got another one. The Eagles fell. Shot down from flight. Burgundy and gold light up this night. Daniels ran with sharp insight. 5 touchdowns thrown. Pure delight. Crowder caught it with 6 ticks to go. Victory sealed with that final throw. The Fed was loud. The league now warned. This team's a storm. Reborn and sworn. Hurts went down, but no excuse. Pickett stepped in, but faced our noose. Despite the flags, despite the slips, we held the line with a fuck ton of grit. So spread the word and let it sit. Commanders win. Now share this shit.
Oh, share this shit. I think your best word so far. Victory. Victory, victory, victory. This team, let's get right into it. This team gets to 10-5 on the season, winning in thrilling fashion. 36-33, down 28-33 with 10 seconds to go. By the end of that play, with 6 seconds remaining, we're up 34-33. The strike that K-Dot so poetically mentioned to Jamison Crowder from our very own Jayden Daniels. We then run in the 2-point conversion, courtesy of Chris Rodriguez. 36-33, they try some laterals. And an epic win against a really, really good Philadelphia team. So, K-Dot, I throw it over to you. What were your thoughts, your reaction? Congrats, by the way, for those that are new to the channel, K-Dot picked this victory for us. Okay, so huge, huge props to you, K-Dot. Over to you. The floor is yours.
Running the table! No matter how bad all 22 film looks. No, wait, look. This game, I actually want to open up kind of question-like, because I don't know if you felt the same way that I did.
Sure.
I thought we were going to win this game all the way up until, what was it? It was the interception.
Okay.
I thought we were going to win this game up until the interception. I felt secure in my pick up until the interception. What I was seeing was some of the same dumb bullshit we've been seeing the last few weeks. But I was like, especially when Hurts went down, it's like, oh, we got this. We got this. Yeah. Just stop shooting.
That's what I flipped, is when Hurts got hurt. Even when they were up 14, I was like, oh, okay, but I think he's going to be out. So I'm feeling good now. Right. But go ahead.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, you look at Hurts' number even before he went down, where he was like 1 of 4, 11 yards. The only thing it looks like he was going to do was like kill us on the ground. He was killing us on the fucking ground, right? And like the 1-2 punch of him and Saquon, if he stays in the game, maybe it's a different story, right? But I still don't think throwing the football, he would have necessarily had a smashing success from what it is we were doing defensively. But early on in the game, it just felt as though we were on the bullshit. You know, I like the going forward on 4th down early. You know, I like that, right?
Absolutely. Thought of you.
Then it got blown up. It got blown up immediately. But then the blow up, it's like, Bates, what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, what did you do? What'd you do? Like, I was like, all right, he got the one. It won't happen again. Let's stay in this thing. They score. We're down by 2 fucking scores. And then we start getting the penalty bullshit. We get in the 3rd down position. It's looking good. And then we get the Noah Igbenogany holding call. Yeah. They convert on 1st down. It's like, we're doing it again. We're playing a pretty good. I'm already seeing myself with the All-22. I'm already seeing that, like, I'm going to come on here. We're probably going to be depressed about how the game might turn out, but then it's going to be one of those situations where I'm like, I have to look at the tape and tell everybody, well, they did a better job than what it is you thought they did, but they just shot themselves in the foot again. And it's fucking annoying coming on here every week saying the same shit. But they stayed with it, and they stayed with the game. And, like, there's a lot of storylines and stuff that come out of this thing, but you talk about, like, a grit fucking win. To overcome 5 turnovers and to still be in this thing. Everybody's going to point to Hurts being out. Well, I've already been talking smack with some Eagles fans, and that's the first thing. Oh, you proud of that? You proud of QB Pickett? I'm like, here's the thing. I understand the thought process, but there's a difference between if a player goes down from a non-contact injury and they're out, I can understand that. We put your guy out. All right?
Oh,
this is
okay.
different.
We might slightly disagree.
We put him out. We put him out. Frankie Louvu, with Jalen's holding his pillow tonight, having flashbacks of Frankie trying to remember what the fuck his name is. Yeah, it was done to you, son.
Okay, I will be on the other side of that and be like, I don't think it's an excuse though, because we turned it over 5 times. And if I could, Kate, just for a moment, a couple quick notes. Dan Quinn, congratulations. First coach in franchise history to win 10 plus games in his first season as head coach here. So congratulations to Dan Quinn. District divided player of the game, spoiler, is Jayden Daniels. Okay. I mean, first Washington player with 5 touchdowns since 1991. Last person to do that, Mark Rippon, Super Bowl year, also happened to be honoring Mark Rippon at this game. So I don't know, just something there. But to put this, if you'll give me a minute here, Kate, to put this win into context, we use the term recalibration because Dan Quinn brought it up. But this was a rebuild. This is a rebuild. It is the definition of a rebuild. This team was 4-13 last season. Terrible. We've got a new general manager. We've got a new head coach. We've got a new owner. We had the number 2 overall pick because of the 4-13 record, 8-game losing streak to get there. We take Jayden Daniels, and it's the largest roster turnover since World War II. This is a rebuild. They can package it however they want to. This is a rebuild. Now, you have the Philadelphia Eagles coming to town. They're 12-2 on a 10-game winning streak. They're not rebuilding. They're not recalibrating. They're already good. And they're better in 2 matchups in particular, mostly across the board, but in 2 in particular. Their defensive line is better than our offensive line. Their offensive line is better than our defensive line. It takes us 5 or 6 players to get to their QB. It takes them maybe 3 or 4. That's it. And then you look across the board, wide receivers, running back in an MVP conversation. You name it, secondary, you name it, they've got it on us. And then you sprinkle in 5 turnovers. The only difference is we have that guy wearing number 5. And for him to have his running backs go for 32 yards on 15 carries. Well, okay, no worries. I'll do it. 9 carries, 81 yards. To not have a wide receiver bail him out. In fact, actually suffer some drops and a fumble from De'Ami Brown. No, don't worry about it. I'll throw up a 95.7 QBR. It's not even my greatest ever QBR, just to be clear, but that's what I do. No problem. And I'll throw 5 touchdowns while I'm at it. Jayden Daniels, you, sir, are special. Special. Because that is where we now, I think, have a distinct advantage, but nowhere else. Shout out Trustway, baby punter as well. But just putting it into context, what you just saw, because that was special. Over to you.
Yeah, I mean, there's no getting around it. Jayden's the player of the game. I know that when I was writing my notes and doing everything, at least early on in the game, Frankie Louvu was my guy. Not only did you knock out Jayden, you had to pick, which was a great pick. But it's like, look, man, this game is sloppy as all get out. They're like, it just came up to when you're down 2 scores, we weren't going to be able to run the football the way that we needed to. Brian Robinson, I don't know what the fuck happened to you today, brother.
After saying we were the better team, he did not back it up.
No, like, just shut up. Like, I love you, B-Rob. Shut the fuck up. Like, no, nothing. Not a man. Yeah, the first thing I did was start looking at mock draft for Action Chin. So, you know how I feel about the position.
Yeah,
right?
I love B-Rob. Real rough day for the guy.
It's just like at that point, I'm like, you got to bench him. Like, he can't see the field anymore. But it's like, I would just say that for anybody, really. It's like, you're just having an off day. Something's going on with you. But yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of shit. Like, there's still things that this team does that just reminds me of the last few weeks. Like, they love to get in their own way. They love killing their own momentum. Every time that you have 1 or 2 things go right, you then have 1 or 2 things go terribly wrong. What was happening on 3rd down defensively as far as keeping their drives alive was the most frustrating thing. You had the Igbenogany face mask. You had the Payne face mask. Oh, no, sorry, the Igbenogany holding, the Payne face mask, and then the Lattimore PI. That one was PI. So
Yes.
like,
Yes, it was.
that was PI. Then you get like, all right, even Marshawn. I just was basically keeping us tally the entire game of who's winning. AJ Marshawn. AJ had that boy at least a certain point of the game.
Yeah.
The slant. I didn't see the all 22, but even looking at that, I think it was Wags. I think Wags actually was out of position. It wasn't on him. But I mean, you got like that first down. You playing that real soft coverage, easy pickup. Like it was shit like that. I was like, I remember I put Marshawn. I was like, the pressure's on you, buddy.
Yeah,
you got to shove with
so.
you. You got to do it. And AJ got the better of a lot of them. That trust me, the referees and that one drive with those 2 PIs, absolute bullshit. You know, I don't like to blame the refs or anything, but that was fucking trash. That was some trash action. I get that, especially the one where he's holding him. It's hard to see from that angle. I get it, but that's why I go to the league and say you got to make that a review.
And I agree with that. And just to quickly interject as well, though, that's what makes corners so hard is on top of already not being able to touch the guys. If it just optically looks off, they can throw a flag. Like it is that hard. And I agree with you, by the way. Those 2 calls were bullshit, but that's how hard it is.
Yeah, it's the same way Jalen Carter got the personal foul.
I thought was soft as hell, man.
They see the offensive lineman go tumbling out backwards, which because he loses balance. So, oh shit! Something
even the roughing the passer. I can't remember if it was Milton Williams or whoever who gave the push. I was like, I don't really think.
I didn't like the ref crew on this one. I didn't feel like they called it was very ticky tacky, and I just felt that they were trying to play it real tough. But
then
they
NFC
were missing
East game
really
at that. Let them get after it. Yeah.
It was weird shit, but like yeah, I mean, it's just they have to be able to sustain this stuff. I mean, we knew Saquon was going to eat, right? And when he busted that 60-yard touchdown, I was like, that's what you can't do. He's going to eat, but you can't let him do that thing, right? And you look overall, they did a pretty damn good job stymieing him. And I know that as far as the game plan went, that was the whole point, right? Let Jalen try to beat you. Don't let Saquon do it. And then when Kenny Pickett got in, they go from more man to zone, and they're like, all right, same ball game. It's just maybe a little bit easier to do this right this time.
Yeah, fantastic graphic from Fox there as well to be tracking that and go in the middle of the third quarter. They're like, hey, by the way, this is the flip that you're seeing. You're seeing a very different Commanders defense there. Greg Olsen all over that, man. I'm glad we had him for this game because I thought he was really good.
He was great. Yeah, he had a hell of a game. He had a hell of a call game, especially we've had some really up and down as far as commentators this year. Offensive line still, I mean, overall, not a great day. I don't think the all 22 is going to show that they had a great day. The Biotish looked rusty as shit. I was happy you were back, but then there were moments of the game where I'm like, I don't quite miss Dieter, but I'm like, you got to get your shit straight, man. Wiley at some points were getting fucking pushed around. It was just like some stuff that was like,
it's a talented defensive line for the Eagles. We were talking about it. Losing the trenches, losing both sides of the trenches, you lose 9 games out of 10.
I get it, but it's like you don't even touch dude.
I agree. It shouldn't be that easy. So I'm with you.
You don't even touch him. Like it's just you just watch him go by. Like you weren't shocked that it happened. I know that they got a great defensive line. But there was just some shit that they gotta get straight. It's just. Look, man, as we said it during points during the season, Jayden does have the ability to put this team on his back. You cannot ask him to do it multiple weeks in a row. That's ridiculous. And you shouldn't be asking a rookie quarterback to do that, period, for you, right? So it's like what you alluded to earlier in the sense of there's one position we have above all other positions of the dude playing quarterback, and we need the rest of the team to step up. And if you're not going to be able to step up as far from a talent standpoint, you got to stop with the miscues. You got to stop dropping shit. You got to at least be there for him. I'm not expecting any of you to break a 90-yard touchdown. I'm not expecting any of you to pancake Jalen Carter. What I am expecting is put up a little resistance, like help him a little bit. Like there shouldn't be moments where it's like, dude, he is out there by himself right now. Like,
how about the 4th and 11 run from Jayden?
So, another point. This game, there was no question about what the identity of this team is when it came to 4th down.
I do.
That 4th and 11, I was like, Dane's got balls. Let's go.
6 to midnight. Don't need the Viagra today.
Brother, trust me, I didn't even like it. I was nervous as shit.
Yeah, I was too.
But that's what I'm saying. The mentality of the team on that 4th down, the mentality of Jayden on that 4th down, where we're doing this. We're fucking doing this. No question about it. We're doing it. You see a swag with the team in those moments, man. You see that swag. That's what I want. I want that to be the identity of this team. It felt like they held on to that in this game. Look, we want the run to be more the identity of the team. We just couldn't get it done. Brian Robinson, you had the rough day or whatever. But Lord knows, it's kind of like Greg Olsen even said in this game. After you were down 2 scores, you're going to need the big plays. You're going to need them. You're going to need them to stay in this thing. And Jayden, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, God damn, boy, did you deliver.
He absolutely delivered. That was 22 fourth quarter points. And if you were paying attention to the entire broadcast early on, when the Eagles go up 14-0, they make the note, hey, actually, Washington's good with first quarter point differential and Philly's bad. So what the heck is going on here? And I think they even go as far as to say, by the way, in the fourth quarter, this flips. So Philadelphia is going to beat these guys badly if you get to the fourth quarter based on trends. And Washington 27th or something like that. So that's the superstar shit that he does. That's the superstar shit that he produced. But to K-Dot's point, and we both love the guy, and you guys do too, obviously, you're watching with us. We cannot put this much responsibility on him. He needs help. And that was the reason why I wanted to provide the context with the win and say, hey, this is a rebuild, and say that, hey, this is year one, right? We are bringing in a lot of guys. There are going to be some chemistry issues. There are going to also be some talent gaps. I mean, Coach says this a lot with his blue chip versus, your A guys, B tier, C, etc.
Yeah.
That's what we saw. Right. We saw it in the first Philly matchup, and this time we just had a healthier Jayden Daniels and Jalen Hurts gets knocked out. And so that's what we see. And I trust Adam Peters, and I presume you do too, to be able to fill out that roster in free agency through the draft that's coming up. So this is hopefully, knock on wood, the worst team around Jayden Daniels. It only gets better with what we have organizationally now.
Yeah, that's the thing that's supposed, once again, season no expectations. They've exceeded any expectation you should have had.
Yeah.
Exponentially. This is the floor. This should be the floor. Like, if you look at how much money they spent on this roster, if you look at what the draft capital was used on this roster, this is the floor. Like, unless these guys just forget, unless Frankie Louvu tackles all of them and they all get a little bit of Jalen Hurts and they forget how to evaluate people, this should be the worst that we see this team for quite some time. Like, the amount of salary cap space, everything they have. It's also why I'm looking at my notes. I'm not going to read everything I got in my notes. There's some stuff I absolutely can't read. Marshawn Lattimore's got to prove some shit to me.
That's fair. After this game, that is fair. And AJ Brown, by the way, he is a superstar, man. He is really,
no doubt,
really good.
Sick. But this is where I know I was mean to Marshawn, and I'm going to preface this by saying it's unfair.
Okay.
When I saw Benny St. Juice on the field, I started screaming. When he missed that tackle, I was losing it. And then they show the brief clip of Marshawn going to blue tent. Nigga, what are we paying you for?
With a hamstring, by the way.
You ain't rest enough, dog. Like, what? Once again, I know this is unfair. This is mean. Marshawn, I love you.
It's an emotional moment.
The best. God damn, I don't want to see St. Juice against fucking AJ. Not
Did
when
you
you're
see
here.
him? Look, we are, I think, very, very good about being not overly critical. We're critical, but not overly critical. And that's fine. No, but on the 4th and 2, did you see St. Juice run on? And it was like, oh, there's 25. Yep. Okay. I mean, they ended up throwing it to Devontae Smith on the other side. I was like, all right. And then you see him stay on. And then I'm like, where's Marshawn? And then, like you said, they flash over to the blue tent. And I'm going to go, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
I was like, this is how it ends. This is how it ends right here, isn't it?
God
damn it. The only other thing that I'll say, because I know that to give you an idea of why I felt as confident as I did in this game. Look, I gave you all the reasons why we should have lost this game. Basically, when I gave you the prediction, right? But I still think, and I think this game was also evident of, Philly's a bit of a mess. You see the penalties that they had in this particular game. You see CJ Gardner-Johnson, whatever the fuck his name is, getting tossed out of the fucking game for his bullshit,
two
right?
unsportsmanlike. I mean, come on. Yeah.
There's shit that they do that I look at times and I'm like, this is an undisciplined, crazy fucking team. They've got no leadership. And I think that's what does them in. There is no doubt in my mind when watching this game, one team was so much more talented than the other team, except for one position, of course. Right. But like, It's just scream. Like, you see Cooper DeJean, I'm like, I'd kill for that motherfucker on this team. I see Jalen Carter, I'm like, I'd kill for that motherfucker on the team. Even what's the center's name? The motherfucker.
Oh, Cam Jurgens.
When he pulled.
He pulled? Yeah, Greg also was like, just noticed this, and I know you and I were like, oh my God.
I'm like, P-Dash, I love you, bro, but you gotta hit the bricks if that motherfucker becomes available, right? Like, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, God damn. Like, Howie did a hell of a job, except for Jahan Dotson. And it's like, shit. This is so like the only thing that can stop these fuckers is themselves, and I still believe that. That's why I don't think they're gonna make Super Bowl. You can just see during this game, they try everything to keep us in it with their dumb fucking penalties. Like, if I'm an Eagles fan, you know your team is superior, and I know that all Eagles fans at this particular point, you're gonna have the fair ones, and I appreciate them. Still, fuck you energy, but I appreciate it.
You don't have to direct me to who those people are, but anyway, go ahead.
But the other ones what this game is going to be to them is Hurts got hurt.
Yeah.
I'll be Pickett. Who gives a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to see. And I'm telling you, what I saw in this game is you guys have all the talent in the world.
Yes.
And even when Greg Olsen said, it shouldn't fucking matter who you guys have in a quarterback because you still win this fucking game. And you didn't. You didn't. And the reason is you're an undisciplined group of guys. Some of the most talented guys, but you're not a fucking team.
Kid, you have the box score, so why don't you pull that up? Because I believe that also has, there you go, 10 penalties for 91 yards. So exactly to your point, by the way, that possession stat also suggests we stole this one, which makes sense. We turned it over 5 times. That's going to help with time of possession for the other team. But 10 penalties for 91 yards? Sorry, that's not going to cut it, especially when 2 of them throw your safety out of the game, who is one of the emotional leaders, etc. He's a douche. But, like, the thing is, when you lack that discipline, like K-Dot's talking about, you are prone to a game like this. And K-Dot called it perfectly, right? Like, hey, this team, the vibes, etc., they could be super talented, and we saw it, right? Still 33 points. Still 33 points.
They're the shit.
They're really good, really talented. But if you lack discipline, you let a team like us building on culture, it's sappy, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. We were just disciplined enough. We made just enough plays, right? And everyone's bought in because we are maximizing absolutely everything we have. And you can tell from the bone, like, we are maximizing everything.
It's Philadelphia incarnate. That's what I look at when I see that team, is that I look through the history of that team, right? When they had Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb, they were going to 4 NFC championships a game. Or they went to 4 NFC championships in a row. You start hearing in real time the animosity between the receivers, the quarterback, all the animus about everybody at any given point in time, right? When they won the Super Bowl, if it wasn't for Big Dick Nick blessing them with the shit, you hear about the shit Carson Wentz was saying in the locker room. Regardless of whether or not he was right or wrong, it rubbed a bunch of people in the locker room the wrong way. It's who they are. Like, Big Dick Nick got them together for that run. But if it was Carson Wentz as good as he was playing, they probably would have had that cancer in the fucking locker room shit. It's who they are. They are so talented. It's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious. Like, I just need y'all to know. It's fucking hilarious. It's so good.
K-Dot, any final thoughts here before we move to the playoff talk? Because it does tie into the Philadelphia Eagles.
No, Mike McCarthy might come back.
How great is that? Well, so talk about the playoff race real quick. So obviously the game was important for us. We just played the Philadelphia Eagles, and yeah, they may be a mess in terms of their discipline and stuff like that. They are talented enough that they will probably beat one of, if not both, and it will be both, the New York Giants and Dallas Cowboys at home. If they win one of those, they win the NFC East. So let's just put that aside. Odds are that's happening. If for whatever reason it doesn't, and we win out and they lose out, we win the division. Ha! That'll be awesome. But here's the deal. We are now 10-5, and as of the results, we're recording this before Sunday Night Football, just a heads up, so we don't know the Bucks Cowboys thing. Doesn't matter. Shout out the Cowboys for being eliminated by us. Another one. So 7 seed is what it currently looks like. Outside chance at the 6 if we run the table like K-Dot's been preaching here. Okay? Outside chance at that. But all you need to do to secure the 7 seed is win 1 game remaining. That's it. You've got 2 games left. Win one of them. You win one, you're in. Automatically, for sure, locked and loaded. Enjoy yourselves. You win both. That's when it gets interesting. Should Green Bay drop a game? the 6th seed is yours, and things can change. Things can move. It gets very, very interesting at that point. So just want to provide the update there. K-Dot, your thoughts on this race and what you think is going to happen. Are we running the table?
I mean, I called it.
You did. You did.
I'm sticking with it, man. I'm sticking with it. Especially Michael Penix today. I saw somebody. I can't take credit for this, but I thought it was hilarious. Penix is gonna have a big problem when you got to realize
I saw
Kyle Pitts can't catch the football. So like if you're gonna throw it his way, did you see that shit,
guys? If you have not seen this interception, please pull it up. Pause this. Pull it up. It is the funniest thing. Yeah, that thing got 3,000 retweets, by the way. That was so funny. That's going down as a pick for Penix. Kyle Pitts turns around and chucks it.
the mea culpa I have to get together for my Kyle Pitts takes, because like I just all right. I don't like to talk about the shit on the pod, but it would be to do it anyway. My fantasy football team.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've noticed the last 2 weeks I've been just. I think I might be like close to not hit 200 points this week.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I made my team so that in the playoffs, there was no doubt. I love the matchups, right? But I will 100% say Kyle Pitts has cost me a chance to play. I'm playing this consolation bullshit because I keep believing in Falcons players. These motherfuckers. Kyle Pitts. I've been watching so much tape of this asshole. I used to be like, Arthur Smith isn't using you properly. It's the quarterback situation. They're just not. Desmond Ridder can't get your ball. Nigga, it's you. You're the problem. Maybe you need to go somewhere else, but in Atlanta, you are the problem. What is wrong with you?
I do love that this turned into the question was, K-Dot, what are your thoughts on the Commanders in this playoff race? And you go, Kyle Pitts is the worst.
He's pissing me off, man. He's pissing me off. And I shouldn't say this. I'm saying it anyway, but I shouldn't say this. He was supposed to be the next great one, but you let that white boy Brock Bowers take over. It's supposed to be you, not him. You.
Hey, listen, a lot of people were really high on Kyle Pitts. I can't believe what's happened because, I mean, even they were showing it on Red Zone. So I flipped it over to Red Zone after our game was done. And they showed Brock Bowers creeping up on Mike Ditka's tight end rookie record for yards in a season. Just below him, Kyle Pitts. So, I mean, I don't know what happened, but the guy has lost his confidence. Again, please pull up the Michael Penix interception if you haven't seen it. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, what?
It looked purposeful.
It did.
It really did look purposeful.
It did. No. I'm agreeing. So
the reason I bring up the fact that we played them, like we're talking about the playoffs, we got to beat them. If he keeps throwing Kyle Pitts the ball, we're gonna beat him.
Best believe that. I mean, listen,
motherfucker, you know what it'd be? The sweet poetry of Kyle Pitts putting up 200 yards and shutting me the fuck up would be so.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, God, if you did that, I actually respect it. I respect it.
Did you literally just look up and say, "I'd respect that"?
I would.
Oh,
that means you got a sense of humor.
So we play the Atlanta Falcons next on Sunday Night Football. And should we win in prime time, we would go to the playoffs and Atlanta would be on the outside. They're already on the outside looking in, but even more so, again, depending on this Bucks-Cowboys game that has already happened by the time you're watching this. So it's very important for the Atlanta Falcons. It's very important for us. If for whatever reason we did not win that game, you get another opportunity, this time at Dallas, the final week of the season. You win that, you're in. So just win one of the two. But if you win both, there's an outside chance for that 6th seed. And again, lots of interesting stuff about maybe playing K-Dot's LA Rams, maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again. We'll see. But maybe you get to avoid Philadelphia, Detroit, or Minnesota, who keep going and going and going.
You want to avoid Philly after that?
Fuck no, but I'm just saying it's just something that it's true. It's just the fact.
Well, I'm trying to see what happens with Jalen Hurts in the concussion. That could make some things pretty interesting.
So from what I mean, it's hard to just eyeball a concussion. Obviously, that being said,
I eyeballed the fuck out of concussion. You knew You knew as soon as he
yes. Okay. So yes, the moment his head hit the turf and he very slowly put his hand up, I was like, okay, he needs to get checked. He did get checked. And I was like, I think he was. What I'm saying is that I don't think it's going to hold him out beyond one game. I don't even think it's going to hold him out.
I'm not rooting for that. I just want it to be known. Our player,
it's something to monitor. Oh my gosh.
Look, it's not. Here's the thing. It's not a cheap shot. It wasn't a cheap shot.
No, it was not a cheap shot.
And I still stand pat. It's one. If it's a non-contact injury, if you are running a route and you tear something and you get hurt, I think it is well within your rights to, if you're going to bitch about like the outcome of a game, you can be like, well, it would have happened differently if our guy didn't get hurt. If the other team hurts your guy, that is something that happened in the course of the game, and the team deserves credit for hurting your guy. That's just my opinion.
We can talk about that on the after the pod that happens a few days from now, because I'll wrap my head around that one. Having been concussed once before, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it.
I'm not saying it's fun.
I know. I know.
It's just
anyway,
get credit.
All right, fair enough. Any final thoughts before we move to the comment mailbag?
Nah. This feels. I don't think I'm gonna do all 22. I think we saw everything we need to see. I don't think I'm gonna learn anything from this.
Okay, cool.
Do you?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Right.
Jayden's him. That's what you're gonna learn. All right.
Although I listened back to the other pod. I really fucked up the all 22 last week, and I don't want to share what I did. I fucked up badly. I was looking at my notes. I fucked up badly.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody called me out, I don't think. Although I haven't listened to I haven't read the comments. Maybe somebody did. Yeah, everybody don't listen to last week's episode.
All right, cool. With that, let's go to the comment mailbag featuring our very own Nikki.
Comment mailbag time, motherfuckers. District divided, ain't got time for no suckers. Spread the word, get in line. OGs and new G's, it's your time. And spread the gospel, cause this shit is divine. Yeah.
All right, thank you as always for that intro, Nikki. Beginning with Big Papa Grizzly. Shout out Big Papa Grizzly. It's actually an idiom that means exactly what it sounds like. Waiting to see the result of shaking something to empty it. Yes. I suppose you could take that to mean penis, but then I might tell you that your Freudian slip is showing. That is the comment from Big Papa K. Your reaction.
Take this however you want to take it. I will draw no conclusions. You can do it yourself. I did have this conversation with somebody after we did the pod.
Mm-hmm.
It was along the lines that after we talked about that, and whether it be a Freudian slip or whatever, I did talk about how unexpectedly I really liked wedding planning. And I really love musicals.
Okay. All right. So was K-Dot. And here's another from Big Pop Grizzly. I feel like the team realizes what this game means. I don't think it's too big for them to handle. This game is just as winnable as any other game has been this year. I don't know what the outcome will be, but I do know that it will be better than Red 1. K-Dot, your reaction.
I think that as far as this team goes, Jayden knows. Jayden's aware. I still think that he gets a little too giddy, but you remember my theory. If he sells the first ball, we're going to have a good game.
Yes.
And that's still true.
Yep. He always does. The first one, he's so excited. He just...
Whoa. Like, all right, we're going to have a good one today, huh? Except that interception was terrible.
Right. Well, that's how you know your team, though. When you know your quarterback sails the first one, other people are like, he seems a bit off today. It's like, no, this is just, it's how you boot up the computer. Like you literally just launched the first
one.
Brett
Favre used to say he didn't feel that he was playing until he got hit the first time. Like that's when he would turn it on, right? So if he had a clean pocket, he was going to throw like shit until somebody hit him. He was like, oh, we're playing football.
Right.
So there's that. And I think on defense, Luvu's always on. Wagner's always on. I think some of the other guys feed off of that energy and like what big plays happen with them. But the only thing is that sometimes I think because there is a talent discrepancy, they try a little too hard and that's why they get out of position, things like that. So I think this team for the most part knows what situation they're in at any given point in time when it comes to the game. I think that they have good leadership. It's just they need to raise the bar of everybody just from a talent standpoint. Also, I did finish the movie Red 1.
Perfect. The Nathan Perry goes, thank you, gents, for keeping me company as I go to and from a basketball game I'm calling. Sounds like I need to watch Red 1. Oh, get out your reaction.
All right. So I watched 8 movies yesterday. Okay. Including Red 1. I'll put it to you this way. Red One has in it a movie that's good. Went too far. It has a passable movie in it, okay? The problem is Chris Evans and Dwayne Johnson are not in the same movie. You can't do both. If you're going to be the parody, you can't be Rock taking it all seriously, and they're playing it up like, all right, NORAD helps Santa Claus. It's all to be this whole thing, right? And you got Chris Evans just all over the fucking place. They don't work. You have a tonal difference that ruins the movie. You pick one lane, and then you stick to the lane. You can't do both.
Ridge, where your helmet at goes, Red One was fire.
Fuck you.
The Nathan Perry. And once again, shout out Ref the District as well. He's one of the hosts of Ref the District, a fantastic Washington Commanders podcast as well. Well, DC Sports. They do more DC Sports as well. Commanders first and foremost, but other DC Sports. So shout out one more time. He goes, Jayden Daniels not throwing the ball away somewhat reminds me of Russell Wilson, who does the same. The latter has been accused of doing it to preserve his high completion percentage. Could Daniels be doing the same? Much has been made of his historic completion percentage. One thing is for certain, not all sacks are created equal. One of the things that has amazed me is how little yardage has been lost via sacks. There's a fair amount of 0 or 1 yard sacks that don't seem to hurt the offense the way 10 plus 1 yards did in years past. K-Dot, is there a thought that Jayden could maybe be choosing not to throw the ball away to save his completion percentage?
No. I think that with Jayden there is, and it's the same thing I was critical of him when he was at LSU and I was looking at the tape. He doesn't know when to quit a play. He doesn't know when to just take enough is enough and quit the play. I did at least see him more in this game. Like, we had that conversation last week about, have you seen him throw the ball away? He'll dirt a ball, right? Like, if somebody's right in his face, he'll dirt the ball. And he did that a couple times today. There is a just, I don't want to quit the play. I can't quit the play. And the thing is that he's still cautious enough that he doesn't do. Josh Allen had that with throw picks. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes used to have that too. Yeah. But he also had enough magic where he could make some stuff happen.
And Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid,
Yeah. It'd be different if we had that kind of room and Jayden could be like, all right, well, fuck it, I'm just going to toss it there anyway. Right?
One of those two will be there. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that could be the thing. I think that's just. I think Russell Wilson, as I've said this repeatedly here and everywhere else, if Russell Wilson was white, we'd all think about him a little bit differently. And you got to understand what I'm saying. He's not allowed to be uncool. And why that is, and because he is who he is hyper aware of everything. He worries about his image with all of it. And also, I watched the movie Wicked, and I didn't realize, remember his Mr. Unlimited?
Yeah.
Unlimited is a part of a Wicked song. And every time they were saying it in the song, I was like,
you were thinking Russell Wilson?
Do me and Russell Wilson like musicals? Like, it's just
probably.
Maybe, right? I just think Russ is one of those dudes, and I don't fault him for it, because he catches a lot of unnecessary shit. Now, whether or not he's deeply uncool, there's no getting around that. Brother, if you got the melanin, you got a responsibility, all right? It's unfair, but you got a responsibility. You're not hitting it properly, all right? Take that back. That's wrong. I don't know how you hit it. But you gotta stop being so worried about that, man. Just do your thing.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Russell Wilson, I think, to your point, K-Dot, with the completion percentage, I think that was very deliberate, because early on in his career, he was throwing it away. Once the money got involved and he's on his second team and he's looking at that contract, I think he was looking at that. He was accused of it, and Denver acted accordingly. They were like, all right, fuck this. Like, we're not. Yeah.
Well, I think Sean Payton's an asshole. But
that too. Yeah.
I will say this. In our game against Pittsburgh is when Russ finally got back to being asshole Russ, where he was talking shit and it always looks awkward, right? Because he's trying to feign confidence and it's just like, dude, just fucking stop, right?
Right.
He shut that shit down. He stopped. George Pickens being out probably got a lot to do with it, but I think Tomlin probably shut him down too, right? He stopped because everybody's like, dude, you don't need to do that. You're doing your best when you're not trying like that. Stop worrying about other people saying. I want to sit down with Russell Wilson so fucking badly. I'm going to smack the shit out of him, but he can smack me back. But it's like, it's just, dog, you got everything right there in your hands. Your hand. You just stop worrying about everybody else, bro. Stop.
We then go to Viz the Kid. Shout out.
Brotherhood, man. God damn.
I thought it was Luke on the goal line chip where Jayden got sacked. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Luke.
Yep.
Ben Sinnott went in motion. Luke was responsible for the chip.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot wrong. Look, if you want, I don't want you to. I do not want you guys to, because I'm embarrassed. I'm kind of ashamed. I got some shit fucked up last week as far as my notes and being transcribed. My notes in this game, and apparently my notes from another game. Yeah. So there's a part in the pod where I'm saying something, and you see
and
in my head,
has
I'm like,
relation to a different game.
I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I don't remember that happening. It's like, but I got it in my notes. Right?
70 screens and 2 notebooks.
Plus, I was on movie time.
And also, Chris Evans. Wait a minute. Ben Sinnott. Sorry, I was looking at. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, man, I didn't catch it. I was listening to the episode, and I was like, that didn't happen.
I took your word for it. You see all 22.
And then you turn on the play, and it's like, clearly, you see Sinnott on the opposite side of the field.
Well, shout out Biz the Kid for spotting that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate
Biz
listening.
The Kid,
I'm
you
sorry,
need to get
man.
a thumbs up, not just the heart, but the thumbs up. You were right. But
I apologize. If people are actually looking forward to me doing the All-22, and I take pride in it. You guys,
no. And by the way, it's been a hit, and don't you worry. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, but I will 100% admit I fucked that up. I did fuck up last week.
All right, cool. And on to the next one. We're looking forward to it. We go over to Marina Sands with a couple comments here. Who is going to help Lattimore with AJ?
Not Bobby Wagner on the goal line.
Nope. Stay tuned for the All-22 review.
All right, so I guess the thought process that I had, and once again going in this game, is as Amit convinced me that it was a bad move to get Marshawn Lattimore. So, like, you got to prove something now, and you got to prove it. And you already been hurt for so long, right? So now you're in there, and I'm like, all right, you got to kind of get thrown to the wolves. AJ Brown's a dog, right? But you're a dog too, right? It's a little different than going against the Saints receivers that ain't Chris Olave. Just saying, a little different. But and even when I go back to that Saints tape, they just didn't test him. They just didn't test him at all. Maybe it does look a little iffy. And I still got to give him, like, dude, you haven't played in a while. This is a whole new system. Like, you got to give. But there was just but the box score,
right?
Was hilarious. We had more penalty yards, but that's all that one drive.
Those PIs, right?
It's the PI. It was the bullshit PIs, man. Like, look, there was one legitimate, and to have 3 in a game, we should probably just be doing something differently. Like, regardless, it was not his best outing, but I still think if we saw, you're talking about one of the best receivers in the league against our dude that's pretty new as far as being here, he tested the fuck out of him. He got the better of him for the most part, but I still felt better about that matchup than I did about anybody else but AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's going to happen. Sometimes corners get beat as well. I don't anticipate this happening every week. If this starts happening every week, we can have a conversation. But this was AJ Brown. This is Marshawn getting targeted for the first time. It didn't even look his way last week with Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler. Like, it's going to be different. It's going to be different with the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about how talented they are. So that's one. And the other comment from Marina Sands is, if you don't beat Philly, you won't make the playoffs. Eagles 28, Commanders 18. Well, we beat Philly. So what does that mean, Marina? You want to come back? You want to come back for this? You want to come back? Fine. Philly fan. And then we go to Dominique Fowler. Shout out. There's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts when referring to the Eagles game. Also hoping for a fallout on the sideline, as the only way the Commandos to win is quite a stretch. Well, K-Dot.
I refer you back a few minutes in this podcast where I kind of laid out what? Huh? You see those penalties?
A lot of penalties.
Not a team. You're a collection of dudes, okay? Not a team. You're a fucking clown show. You had one of the best records in the league last year, and what happened? Got trounced by Tampa Bay in the wild card round, right? While I don't think you will lose in the wild card round, you're not winning the Super Bowl, and it should be a shoo-in. You guys are so clearly the most talented team in the league. There's a gap. And I don't give a fuck who we're talking about. There's a gap. Like, you don't have a guy that peaks as like a Patrick Mahomes. You don't have a guy that peaks like a Josh Allen. Maybe Saquon is more talented than those guys. Like, we're just a talent for talent. But the rest, if we're talking about a team, There is no more complete team in the league for the last 2 years. 2 years. He got nothing.
Their 53 is so stacked. It's crazy, but nothing to show, like you said. We now quickly go back to a prior video because this is Coach and Coach's prediction, and then we get to the comments from after the game ended. Okay? Yep. So here's Coach prior to the game. I have watched a ton of Philly and Washington tape this season. Washington just has way too many roster holes. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, and DB. I like Marshawn and Mikey, but question Noah, Quan, and Chin, at least in coverage with Chin. Vic Fangio is the top 5 DC in the league, and Kellen Moore is no longer a moron. They can easily scheme around that talent gap for Washington, and in general, Philly has better players. 27-13 Philly, player of the game, Jalen Carter, go Birds. Okay, so that's that comment. And then, of course, the game happens. And we now go over to Coach's latest comment over here, which goes, congrats on the win. I can take my L's too. Seems like the entire team is dependent on a healthy Jalen. K-Dot, your reaction.
On the first comment, I didn't really disagree with anything you said.
No, neither did I. I picked Philly.
Yeah, all right. So the only thing I had that I didn't agree with was the score. Because once again, collection of dudes. And I'm sorry, I still think Kellen Moore is a fucking moron. But it's just me. It's just me. I respect the shit out of Vic Fangio. There's no getting around it. And I think that defense and what he's been able to do with those rookies is an achievement. There's no getting around it. That's a fucking achievement. And they're white boys back there. He getting shit done with the white boys back there. That's fucking crazy. Assistant of the year, probably. Like in my opinion, man.
Yeah.
DeJean's a dude. What? Yeah, it's legit. You guys are legit. And you guys have had some really good dudes come through Philadelphia. They got some good coaching. They know what they're doing. They can get the best out of certain guys. They still can't get anybody to bring the entire team together because they don't respect Nick.
Yeah. I will say this, maybe it's a bit of a take on my end, but them losing this game, lack of discipline, and Jalen Hurts being knocked out of it, I think does serve them well from the perspective of some people have issues with Jalen Hurts and his leadership. Mm-hmm. I think them losing and also losing their cool almost helps Jalen a little bit. I think it does. You don't think so?
Here's why.
Okay.
We are the only podcast. You can go, unless you're fucking LaShawn McCoy and Emmanuel Acho, who I'll never fucking listen to, might have the take. I don't think I'm going to come across it. No one is going to be talking about what it is that we're talking about when it comes to the Eagles. Everyone's narrative is going to be Hurts got hurt.
Yes. No, that is true.
So so I don't think any lessons come of it because they never learn from it.
Oh, I see. And
I feel like I'm the only one talking about the team aspect of fucking Philadelphia.
To your point, K-Dot, on that, they seem to listen to the media. Like, that's the other thing. So they will listen to all the sports shows that sports fans watch, just like us. And they are going to learn from that. Same thing that happened with A.J. Brown. He bitches. Okay. Sports shows talk about it. All right, we're going to go ahead and give him the ball. Isn't that what you all wanted to see? Remember when Jalen Hurts said that? God, we should have led if he didn't get hurt, we could have led the thing with that. But, I mean, yeah.
But once again, the media is not talking about the narrative coming out of this game. Because if you listen to any Eagles fan post this game, including Coach, and I'll give you, Coach, you tried to get past it. You couldn't.
I think, just to be clear, I do think Coach did an excellent job of getting past it. I've been chatting with Coach on Twitter as well. Just want to say, Coach, okay. I actually think you're one of the good ones.
Well,
relative to the rest of the fan base, I think so.
I mean, you might not have flown the planes into the tires, but you're still an Al-Qaeda member. It's like you still give to the cause, right?
No, you know what? You're right. I take it back.
Coach, I respect you. You're like, we love you. We got love for you, but we still know who you are. I mean, I got family in prison. I don't agree with what they did. Still love them. Look, what I'm saying as far as Coach's comment is that I still think the through line for Philadelphia fans, even in that comment, is Philadelphia needed to not hurt.
Yeah, and I do think that there was a little bit. Sorry, I completely cut you off there, kid. I just immediately agreed with you. And yes, it still had to be mentioned, right? You couldn't go the entire thing without mentioning it, right? Yeah,
and I get it. There's rivalry there. There's some people that are just not going to buy what we're selling as far as the team.
Yeah.
I don't think Coach buys what I'm selling as far as the camaraderie on the team or the non-camaraderie on the team. But I think that's the issue. I've been saying that's the issue in Philadelphia, but I'm one of the only. I talk about psychology in sports. That's my thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm right a lot of the times. I don't get credit for it because I'm wrong about a lot of other shit. Kyle Pitts, you piece of shit. But like Aaron Rodgers, I've called that. Guys, if you only knew the behind-the-scenes shit that I've had to deal with in my personal life about the Aaron Rodgers
actually
thing.
know some of it. It's crazy.
Like,
I can't say, though. It's not
I've been on this shit for years.
You have.
Y'all are new. I can't even talk about Aaron the way I want to talk about him anymore. I can't.
Can we do this, though? I'm going to read Pally for Life's comment, and then I'm going to ask you a question so we can talk about somebody else, namely our quarterback. One word, believe. Share this shit. That's from Pally for Life. Pally for Life also texted me a couple nice little double down bets on FanDuel. So shout out Pally for Life for winning those. Just saw those, said he shared those with you, K-Dot. Here's my question. With number 5 under center for us, well, in the gun typically, is he already the best quarterback in the NFC East? We'll start there. Is he the best quarterback in the conference?
No.
Who do you currently have ahead of him?
All right, so this is where it comes down. Like, so when you say better, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm drafting any quarterback in the NFC, I'm probably picking him just because I have the longevity.
You got the longevity, right? Yeah.
So the way I always try to look at it is like, if I've got one season,
okay,
where you are right now, if I got one season to try to win a Super Bowl, who am I picking? I probably still am picking Matt Stafford over him. I still probably am picking Jared Goff over him. I might get Brock Purdy, maybe.
Okay, but you would not actually. Okay, fair enough. For the one season, but you wouldn't obviously make the trade.
No. Because it's because what I'm saying is like from a longevity standpoint, there's nobody with it. There's no one in the. There's safe to say there's nobody in the league with a brighter potential future than Jayden at this particular point in time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like no one. Like you even throw Patrick Mahomes, like there's probably no one in the league with a brighter future than Jayden. Yep. But if it's like if I got to use a year, you're still a rookie. And if you're still a rookie and I got to worry about how you're going to perform in the playoffs, like going through the Super Bowl, look, Jayden is rewriting the books right now. So who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But if I had to go off of prior history and like what I would trust the most, I could never do that.
Kid, you heard this stat that Jayden is the first quarterback ever to throw 4 touchdowns in 30 at the under 30 mark, or even shorter than that, in the fourth quarter and overtime in one season.
That's a weird stat, but it sounds impressive.
He's clutch. That's all it means. It has to be a go-ahead, obviously. It has to be a go-ahead or game-tying score. But yeah, he's flipping games.
I remember in yesteryear when I was on this podcast. It wasn't quite a co-host as much as it was a part of a bunch of loonies that were on your show.
That's true. It was quite.
And that cocksuck Matt Regan was on, and I remember us getting into an argument about Aaron Rodgers, and I think it was whether or not we wanted Aaron Rodgers to come to DC. Mm-hmm. And one of my things was I said that Aaron Rodgers is not clutch. He has the aura of being clutch, but he's not really clutch. Like he's not as clutch as Matt Stafford, in my opinion, right?
Because he had the couple Hail Marys. They're like he's clutch.
I think it's bullshit, right? If we look at it like what I'm saying, Jayden right now, kind of sneakily, has become one of those dudes you look around. It's like, so when you ask that question, who's the best quarterback, right?
Yeah.
If you ask me, if I got to win one game, or if I got one drive,
if you play the one drive game, I think you're taking Mahomes, and I think you can maybe already make the case for Jayden at 2.
I go Mahomes, Jackson, Allen. But then Burrow.
Ooh. Oh yeah, Burrow. Okay, Burrow. But he's in that conversation.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Isn't that crazy? Like he's in the conversation.
It's talking nuts.
We go over to Tony. Shout out Tony with not 1 but 2 comments. Here's the first. What a freaking game. The direction the game was heading, Hurts leaving the game was our best chance to steal the win. Crazy the Eagles can't extend more drives without the tush push. And hey, coach, fuck Philly. See y'all again in a few weeks. That's the comment from Tony, who, of course, is that with a little bit of a jab there. I enjoyed that. Kid, out your reaction.
Lord knows, man. And this is me being a dumbass, right? And feeding into it. I so wish that he didn't get hurt.
I do too, by the way. I wish he did not.
Because you're saying it from a sympathetic standpoint. I'm not doing that. I'm saying
no, I get that.
Okay.
I get that. We got to the same end point.
Okay, cool.
But, yeah. I also don't want these guys to have the narrative.
That's my thing. You don't get that, right? Yeah, I don't want you don't get to have that.
Yeah.
He was 1 of 4 for 11 yards. And I still didn't see the defensive adjustment that I called in the pregame, which is who's going to spy Jayden. And my thought was that you're going to have a Louisville, you might have a Wagner kind of spot him. Early in the game, I didn't see that. They were still using one of those guys to come up the gut to try to get him, and then he could zone out because the rest of the line wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. But they made adjustments as the game went on.
Yeah.
If the only thing was going to be throwing jump bars to AJ Brown and seeing what happens with Marshawn Lattimore, I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens. But I mean, probably it's a lot more penalties. Who knows? But there is an element of I don't think Jalen Hurts has a good game. I don't think he has a good game throwing the fucking football. I just don't. And I get it. There's a small sample size. Nobody should agree with me on the 1 of 4. You probably look at all the passes and be like, oh, that's not indicative of what was going to happen. I don't think he was going to have a good game thrown.
Yeah. No, I agree with you because even in the first game, see, and that's the difference. I was even chatting with somebody about this. Like the difference between the first game and this game, because, Jayden early on, it was tough. But Jayden, we talked about it with the carbon fiber rep, and it was a short week. Like, it was like, okay, yeah, but he was a little bit handicapped in that first game. Jalen Hurts was fine. Yep. And he was on track to do the same thing in this game, where the first 2-3 quarters, like, what the heck is going on with Jalen Hurts? Like, we were going towards the same story. Mm-hmm. Like, so that's the difference there. So just wanted to point that out as well. And speaking of Jalen Hurts, here's Tony's final comment. And I don't want to hear Hurts was hurt because we had to overcome 5 forced turnovers. And somebody needs to tell DQ how to manage his timeouts. That was the last thing there. Get out your reaction.
Look, I need you to, for the next pod, I need you to do some soul searching. I need everybody in the comment mailbag to do some soul searching on this too. I understand it might be mean. I still think you get credit for knocking a player out. I think that's part of the course of the game. And I truly do think as long as you're not doing a cheap shot, and as long as it wasn't, once again, it's not like it's a non-contact injury. Mm-hmm. If you hurt a player, you did that to the player. You get credit for doing it. To me, that's a thing.
We'll chat about it more on the other after the pod. I will do some soul searching on it because for me, credit represents a degree of intention as well. And I know that there was no intention to hurt the guy. So, but it happened. So I get what you're saying. You could have mean intentions, violent intentions, I guess, there's that thought also. But anyway,
want someone to feel what you did. And sometimes when you feel what you did, it's like, yeah, you gotta get out the game. Like it's one of those things.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Nobody wants to see anybody not go home with their families. It's not that. But but if you did it, if it just so happened to happen, I did it to you. That's like if I didn't do what I did, you'd still be playing. And you're not playing.
We will parse it out. We will parse it out on the After the Pod next episode. But until then, this is the show. This was District Divided, a DC Sports Podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast coming to you with a Shades Monday, a Victory Monday. I'm Amith. That is K-Dot. And if you enjoyed the episode, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Share the shit! And also get Mubi. Underrated app.
And watch Red One. So until then, we will see you guys later for the preview against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday Night Football. So until then,
all 22, probably not.
Take it easy.
Happy holidays, everybody.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.